Good morning, it's Sunday 25th of February 2019. Yeah, that sounds about right. About 8 o'clock in the morning. Just had a shower, come home, I've had a drink and I thought, oh, I'll have a shower. Not spoken to you for a few, put the teeth in, for a few weeks. Actually, nothing exciting's happened. It has been a boring couple of months. I mean, before Christmas we had the weather forecast saying it was going to be bad up to Christmas. No snow, no snow. Over Christmas we were going to have 3 inches of snow in the area. After Christmas and New Year, that was it. By sort of middle of January, we're going to be snowed out, traffic's going to be impossible, and we had one thin scattering of, and when I say thin, it wouldn't even be a millimetre of snow. That's all snow we've had. It's been cold, a few cold mornings, but besides that, nothing much. So why am I talking to you today if nothing exciting's happened? Well, it's a birthday. It's a birthday. Not a person, but we have a birthday. 23rd of February 1999. A revolutionary TV series hit the screens in the UK on Channel 4. They introduced us, I think they call it the Thumper Thumper, the disco beat of the nightclubs. It revolved around 3 men and it was set in Manchester down the infamous Canal Street. TV series was called Queer as Folks. Believe it or not, it's 20 years old. I remember seeing it when it first came out. I've talked about it before, but we'll go into a bit more depth. Story revolves around 3 guys, well, 2 guys and basically a teenager. And it's set in Canal Street and it's about the lives of gay men, and it centralises on these 3 people. There is drug taking, there's business intrigue, there's sex, and for that time it was very, very, very suggestive and explicit. And what amazed me is people actually wrote it and said it was pornographic. No, it was simulated. But it was very, very suggestive. We had masturbation, oral, anal, rimming, all sorts. It introduced people to the fact that there are websites for the people that were naive that dealt with people hooking up with people. In the second series we had blackmail, we had family issues, etc, etc, etc. Only lasted 2 series. Very good, and it was one of them series that blew your mind. Eventually, I've talked about this before, America remade it for the American audience. And that was set in Pittsburgh. Yeah, Pittsburgh. I'm sure it was Pittsburgh. Positive in Pittsburgh. Again, the first series mainly was aimed around these 3 characters. But the story started to expand in the first series. So you had the families involved, you had partners involved. It's part of the UK series, but they didn't really expand the storyline. Part the lesbians, asked for the main protagonists for sperm donation so they could have a kid, and so it involved them a lot more. And where the British one dealt with some serious subjects, the American one pushed the boat out. Dealt with HIV, dealt with living with a partner that's got HIV. One of the guys hooks up with a guy and they move in together and start forming a relationship, and this person who hooks up with is HIV positive. We had homophobia. We'd had a homophobic attack at the end of the first series, which was quite explicit. Yeah, I mean, it was really that, what the hell's gone off here type of thing. We had a hustler that was murdered. We had a political intrigue. Corporate intrigue. We had cancer. Breakup of relationships. We had drugs. I mean, serious. One of the storylines was a really, really, really serious drug. How this, one of the characters in there went from a rational bloke basically to a total mess. That's the only way I could put it. So there were quite gay marriage, that type of thing. So it was very thing. I think best way to describe it is to do one of the opening lines. The first episode of the American one, it starts off set in the nightclub called Babylon. You see people dancing. Then you hear this voiceover come off, and it's Michael, one of the main adults in it. And then what he says is, I need to read it because it's quite a big speech. The thing you need to know, it's all about sex. It's true. In fact, they say that the average man thinks about sex every 28 seconds. Of course, that is a straight man. Gay men, it's every 9. You could be at the supermarket, laundromat, or buying that fabulous shirt when you suddenly find yourself checking out the hot guy, hotter than the one you saw last weekend or went home with the night before. Which explains why we're all at Babylon at 1 in the morning instead at home in bed. But who wants to be at home in bed? Especially alone when you could be here, knowing at any moment you might see him, the most beautiful man that ever lived. That is until tomorrow night. But that's the attitude of the gay crowd there, you know, the one night stands. And it's about this young kid that comes along, the one night stand that never went away. One of the big stories in it was clamping down on the gay bars and stuff like that, and it did end up with the main bar, Babylon, being targeted by a bomber, and it blew it up. At the time I thought, oh, you know, that's a bit extreme. And so less than 10 years later you had Pulse nightclub, where somebody went in with a semi-automatic rifle, opened fire and killed 49 people. The clampdown on the gay bars and stuff like that, reading some of the American gay newspapers, that's happening now under the Trump and Mike Pence and all the other sort of... I don't know if it's true, but it's funny how reality imitates art. They are talking about rebooting it. Now, I'm not talking remaking it. The American version, the first series, is basically a remake, even though they expanded a bit, of the UK version. But they're talking about rebooting it. And a few weeks ago, me and Joe were talking about this, and we sort of said, oh, I sort of said it was American. But I think it would be wrong to do it in Pittsburgh again. Because if you do it in Pittsburgh, people are going to be expected to see the old characters. The Brian Kenny, the Emmett, and Ted, and probably Justin. So I suggested moving it to another city with a large gay population. So he did actually make a couple of suggestions. The first one was obviously where he lives, which is, well, close to where he lives, which is Columbus, Ohio. He also, I'm sure he mentioned that Chicago's got a large gay population. And then, of course, thinking of the gay population, you've got to think of San Francisco. I did actually think about Greenwich Village. Is that New York? Basically because of the Stonewall Inn that's there. You know, bring it up to date, new characters, new settings, new intrigues. But I did actually begin to think, you know, if they rebooted the English version, where could you go? I mean, Canal Street's well known and stuff like that. So I thought, well, Birmingham's got a good gay scene, but not Birmingham. Then I thought, London. What stories could you have there? First off, obviously there's the Houses of Parliament. One of the main characters could be an MP. You've got the West End. Lots of actors. Storylines there. It's the centre of commerce in the UK. It's, you know, the big financial institutes around there. So again, so you could have political intrigue, could have financial intrigue, corporate intrigue, people from the theatre land. You've got embassies and stuff like that. Could have a storyline where one of the countries that basically outlaws homosexuality, one of the workers from there could be visiting the gay area because he's gay, you know. So it could work. It could work as a reboot. It could work as a reboot. Bring it up to date. If you brought it up to date, though, you would have to keep the tone of it exactly the same. And that raunchiness that was so intrinsic to the original series, it's got to be honest. It's got to be honest. And actually, in some respects, I think the American version was more honest than the British version. Even though there was homophobia, it weren't exactly explored to the extent where one of the main characters is getting his head caved in with a baseball bat. One thing I did like about the American version, the last episode, is the bombs happened, Babylon's destroyed, and the two main characters are there. Of course, the young lad's gone to New York or somewhere like that to pursue a coup, so the two main older guys are there. And he gets the Brian Kenny, who's the main protagonist, you know, and they're dancing away. What are we dancing to? Oh, it's favourite song, you know, and the dancing. And you suddenly see Babylon rebuilding around him. Obviously, because he owned it at that time, he's reinvested in it. But I thought it was a great line of how much life goes on. It's one of the last lines, and again it's said by Michael, who said the first line in the first episode. He says this last line in the last episode, and it is so the thumper let's start again. So the thumper continues. It always will, no matter what happens, no matter who's the president. As Our Lady of Disco, the divine Miss Gloria Gaynor has always sung to us, we will survive. So, to the UK version, 23rd, happy birthday, happy 20th birthday. And hopefully they do a reboot, hopefully they will put it somewhere else, bring new characters in. new situations, and we'll be able to see the lives of the modern day gay man compared to the 1990s reflected on the screen. Besides that, not much else to say, so bye for now, speak again later.